predictable cash flows. Rent comes in monthly, and it is a very good hedge against inflation. As rates go up, so do rents. There's long-term appreciation, and as the longer we hold assets, the more it appreciates in value, as well as certain tax advantages in the U.S., such as depreciation and diversification amongst markets and asset classes, which definitely diversifies our portfolio during different aspects in the market and cycle. We are excited about long-term demand in the U.S. Today, multifamily is especially valuable, as in the U.S. faces a shortage of approximately 4.5 million homes. It will be there and will take a long time to close this gap, providing strong foundation for stable and growing rents. This shortage is reinforced by rising costs and higher interest rates, as the spread between renting and owning a home means it gets about $1,200 less to rent a home per month than it does to own a home in the U.S. today. Today, Kushner is a national multifamily platform owning and operating 27,000 apartments across 14 states. However, while we have a national platform, today we are only developing in markets such as New Jersey and Florida. These markets are really strong from an employment and income fundamentals. Importantly, they are markets in which we have deep local expertise and relationships that have built on trust and ability to execute over the years. Both markets are supply constraints in the multifamily sector, which has been driving occupancy rates for over the years, and modest but yet steady rent growth year over year. When I joined Kushner over 10 years ago, we sat down and the company really saw an opportunity to build a development platform that focused on delivering high-quality rental product, which really did not just exist in the markets in which we were looking at today. One that really served our customers that we were targeting and really created a level of quality that also was not towards the traditional renter. In my role at Kushner, I spearheaded this initiative and worked with our team to implement a differentiated, structured approach to development that I am proud to share with you today. And as a result, we have over 11,500 apartments in various stages of development, with 7 projects in active construction totaling over $3.5 billion in development. And at Kushner, we follow 3 core values that I'm going to share with you today when we develop our properties. The first and foremost is location, location, location. Specifically, we look to develop in transit-oriented locations near markets with great employment centers and top school districts. Second of our pillars is community integration and placemaking. Our focus is always on the customer and our surrounding community. The integration into the community and what is happening is critical to the surrounding area and the neighborhood, and it definitely serves not only the residents, but the community at large. Our third pillar is elevated living. That means creating spaces that are aspirational and a place that we would all enjoy living. By partnering with map partners and brands, it brings our projects to life. In the next few slides, we are going to take you through some of our projects that highlight the values of this philosophy in our multifamily development platform. I'm going to share with you now 2 examples, one a new development and another a historical asset our family's owned for many years that will exemplify location, 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 our first value in development. The Journal, the ground-up, towers, high-rise, mixed-use development combines residential and retail. Located in the heart of Journal Square, this is an ideal site for Kushner. It is just a short commute to Manhattan and has a mass transit station, a adjacent to the site, and it's in an area that is fast becoming a vibrant cultural and commercial hub. The Journal is an example of how we bring out location-focused, mixed-use philosophy to life. And I now would like to share a small video with you to take you inside the Journal.
This has been a decade in the making.
It required a lot of vision.
So many seeds have been planted in this area, and seeing them blossom has been incredible.
The Journal has forever changed the skyline of New Jersey.
Our business has some very basic fundamentals, which is location, 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 and I think this checks every box.
We were already active in Jersey City, so we wanted to make a larger bet in that market, and the Journal was the perfect opportunity. The size of it, the ability to build 1,700 apartments in one location, and to deploy $1 billion worth of investments.
We are literally sitting on the path station.
The culture on top of the transportation would be a great magnet for future residents. And then you had the rents affordability component. The cost to build in Jersey City was also less than 50% of what it would be in New York City. This is where you get a very interesting arbitrage.
As long-term owners and operators and developers, we look to build quality and product that will stand the test of time.
And we decided to develop a project with condo level finishes in spite of the fact that this would be a rental project.
We have 40,000 square feet of incredible amenities, a full-size Olympic pool, full-size indoor basketball court.
We have bowling alleys, sports simulators. We have a commercial loading dock. We have a fully staffed package center. We have co-working spaces. You can go shopping downstairs in the Target. You can get a coffee. You can get the medication.
We're always looking to design for the future. The DAS system is a perfect example. You can go on the 64th floor of this building and make a cell call with the same clarity as you can make here at grade. We spent a very, very significant investment because we saw that as being crucial to our customers well into the future.
This project is a culmination of the culture of our organization.
Being an amazing testament to what it is that we can develop, finance, and deliver.
The Journal is just one example of us really changing the community.
We can really accomplish anything together.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to the next example of location, which is the Puck Building in Soho. It's another property that exemplifies how location deserves has a driven philosophy combining office, retail, and boutique penthouse condos. The Puck Building is an example of taking an iconic architecture and repositioning to meet the modern day living. A historic building for over 100 years, the building is positioned at the crossroads of Soho and on the subway that really connects Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Jersey City. Over the years, the Puck Building has housed diverse companies and has undergone many renovations to make it what it is today. Today, Soho's transformation into a tech hub has enabled a repositioning of this Puck Building. We transformed old event space into a Class A office location with prime retail destination. And shifting to our next and second value, I want to share how you bring some thoughtfulness into building real community. This is Monmouth Square. It was an underperforming 100-acre shopping center. It is in a fantastic location, our first value, and in close proximity to major and regional highways, as well as access to the high-speed ferry in New York. We are developing the site into a vibrant mixed-use live-work-play destination and creating a space that will create a community and serve residents of our property as well as those surrounding. We have created a master plan here to transform this location with local community needs and demographics that will include 1,000 apartments and 900,000 square feet of retail, as well as a 2-acre park that will be open to the community. It was really important for us to anchor this development with a premier grocer. And we are creating a vibrant downtown for the affluent surrounding communities. The apartments are designed and tailored to meet the needs of every single lifestyle within the local demographics. I would now like to take you into our third pillar and value for multifamily development, elevated living. This third pillar is an approach to elevated living through the lens of the rental experience. After working at Ralph Lauren, I recognize the power of a brand and the emotional impact that it has on every single one of us. The power to make someone feel a certain way and to feel something, and so we created Levana, a brand that you live inspired and live beyond. Levana is a residential multifamily brand that is designed to focus on the needs and aspirations of the customer, a community that I would be proud to live in. Levana means moon in Hebrew and reflects life's many stages in life, with a home that meets your needs at every stage. Levana reflects a vision of elevated, high-quality communities with enduring style and detail, unparalleled amenities, and a quality of service programming that meets each community where they are. Today, I am proud that we have 6 Levana communities, each one our vision of elevated, resident-focused living to life. The communities are each designed differently for their specific market and target customer, but the shared vision, value for quality, and aspirational living offers a home that feels right for everyone at their stage in life. And now, coming full circle, our newest Levana community in Livingston, the town that I actually grew up in. And it embodies our vision and values in a place that I call home. And with that, I would like to end this presentation. I hope that I have given you a sense of the structured yet thoughtful approach to design and development that we have here at Kushner. We are very passionate, and we hope that this translated through the works that we've shared with you today. I would like to thank you all for your time and patience, and appreciate the support in this presentation.
Thank you, Nicole. From your presentation, we've learned how Kushner companies that are designed for mixed-use multi-family platform in supply tight New Jersey and Florida markets with credible anchors and high-quality placemaking. Next, I would like to invite Hiro Mori to the stage. Mr. Mori is a director and executive vice president overseeing operations, property management, and international business of Mori Building Company. Before joining Mori Building, based on his economics background, he was working for the Industrial Bank of Japan. So today, Mr. Mori will talk about a story of how a city-making philosophy and playbook, let's say a vertical garden city, can be realized through a mega project in Tokyo. Please welcome Mr. Mori to the stage.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Hiro Mori. First of all, I would like to express my great congratulations for Koda's 20th anniversary. And thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kim. Thank you. and as I mentioned, as she mentioned, I started my career just after the graduation from Tokyo University. I started as a investment banker in Industrial Bank of Japan. 10 years later, I joined bodybuilding because I got married with Morris' elder daughter. First, I will show you our survey for the global cities. As you may know, this is a global power city index. This is published annually by the Mori Memorial Foundation. Since 2008, this research ranks 46 global cities across 6 domains: economy, research and development, culture, cultural interactions, livability, environment, transportation and access, using 70 indicators. The top 5 cities have remained unchanged over the past decade. Tokyo surpassed Paris in 2016 to take 3rd place. Seoul ranks 6th. The 6 categories, as I mentioned, reveals each city's strengths. This serves as a guideline for developers worldwide to understand strengths and weakness and determine what kind of urban development is needed. Global Power City Index, this is a comparison pie chart of top 3 cities, London and New York and Tokyo. London excels in culture and interaction. New York in economy and research and development. Tokyo has no major weakness, but also no outstanding strengths. Now, regarding Mori Building's urban development philosophy. We have 3 development principles: safety and security, greenery and environment, art and culture. The term is important. We put our biggest priority on safety and security. And third one is art and culture, but fortunately this third principle is variation, make a big variation for our project. Urban development philosophy, I want to say vertical garden scheme. Compact urban development integrating work, residence, and recreation. And key concept to realize these 3 principles is the vertical garden city. Here is an easy to understand model. A densely populated residential area command in metropolitan suburbs. It has 300 units of 100 square meter detached houses. The total site area is 30,000 square meters. It features the typical narrow street neighborhood layout. Consolidating this into one high-rise 50 stories building would use only 3% of the total site area. It means 97% of the land becomes newly available for use. So we can add another 50 stories residential building, and we could add some office space, hospitals, and green park, blah, blah, blah. So this is vertical garden cities effectiveness. This is a Roppongi Hills case. Roppongi Hills was completed 2003. Later I will mention, but this project started 1986, just after the completion of first bodybuilding multi-purpose development at Philips. This photo is before and after redevelopment. You can see this is a before the area. There are many small houses like that. The road is very narrow. After the completion, this is a Roppongi's completion. This site area is 11.6 hectares. And before the redevelopment, we didn't utilize the site. But after the completion, the total floor area is 760,000 square meters. And finally, we can add residential units, approximately 840 units. Before the redevelopment, original residential units are almost 300 or 400. This is Toronto Hills area. Toronto Hills completed 2014. Before, left side is before, right side is after the development. The site area is 7.5 hectares. But after the completion, total floor area is 800,000 square meters. This is brand new one, as of Hills. Before the development, you can see very narrow road. It's not road, it's a path. And there are many, many small houses. This project was completed 2023. Honestly, the project started 1989. Totally, it took 34 years from the beginning to the completion. But during this project, we do some another project as I mentioned, Roppongi Hills and Toronto Hills. The site area is 8.1 hectares. The total floor area, total floor area is 860,000 square meters. You can easily understand. We use the floor ratio 1,000%. In Japan, where land ownership consciousness is strong, promoting local understanding is an extremely important point. These are numerous meetings held with landowners to build consensus for Roppongi Hills. As for the Roppongi Hills case, such meetings were held over 15 years from 1986 until completion in 2003. Especially over 2,000 meetings were held until construction began in 2000. That's simply over 130 meetings per year, or 2 or 3 meetings per week. Consequently, redevelopment timelines become extremely long. Roppongi Hills took 17 years, while recently completed Azabda Hills, as I mentioned, it took 34 years from the initial concept. it becomes vertical modernity project. Improves the accessibility. It becomes a resilient city against disaster and environmentally effective. Where narrow streets once hindered emergency vehicle access. Improved road infrastructure prevent fire truck getting stuck. But after the completion, the road is widened. Furthermore, compared to surrounding areas, summer surface temperatures are lower, effectively preventing the so-called heat island phenomenon. This is a Roppongi's site. You can easily understand. This project site is get a low temperature from the surrounding area. As a result, it enables the creation of a diverse, multi-purpose city where residents can live, work, play, learn, and relax. This is a functional composition of Roppongi. The color code uses make it easy to understand. This creates an attractive city where everything is within walking distance. Now, let me quickly introduce several projects. This is Roppongi Hills. There were originally 500 landowners, but ultimately 400 remained. Total project cost is 270 billion Japanese yen. This is Roppongi Hills. A notable feature here is the General MacArthur Road. At the middle of this project, a major urban planning road planned after the war, World War II, was finally completed 70 years later with the completion of this project, which involved moving it underground. Total project cost is 700 billion Japanese yen. This is Azabudai Hills. Maybe some of them attended this brand new project. Based on fundamental concept of green and wellness, it was completed in 2023. In partnership with the Urban Group, the ultra-luxury hotel, JAL Tokyo, and branded residences. Urban residents have become very popular. Here, too, we work with 300 local residents to create a green city. Total project cost is 640 billion Japanese yen because of construction cost is very expensive nowadays. This is last slide. At Mori Building, we want to contribute to society and enhance the appeal of the city by steadily promoting urban development in areas such as Roppongi and Azabudai, which have many relatively small buildings and residences, rather than in Tokyo Station and Nihonbashi area. So, while gaining the understanding of local residents. So, she said, location. Of course, location is quite important, but big redevelopment project can make the poor location, change the poor location into rich location. I hope so. Thank you very much. I appreciate your kind attention. Thank you.
글로벌 디벨로퍼 컨퍼런스 1부 진행 중에 있습니다. 글로벌 디벨로퍼 타이틀은 대한민국의 디벨로퍼의 미래에 대해서
virtually reached public life, operated and hardened for shocks. So incredible. The model has proven amenity and resilience benefits in central Tokyo. So now we are going to deepen our conversation more on sustainability for the global developers. So I'm going to introduce Cecil Bapto from the EDGE Netherlands. Cecil is the head of distribution of EDGE, and she is investment manager and a former European head of distribution with experience across the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany. So she raises capital and builds a sustainability-led office and meets the strategies. In her presentation, she will talk about a sustainability-first office developer framing value creation for occupiers, investors, and communities in an interconnected world. So please welcome Cecil Bapto. The floor is yours.
코
안녕하세요. 감사합니다. Thank you. That's very generous. Thank you so much to CODA for having us all here today. It's a real honor to be speaking alongside two very other inspiring speakers and to be here among such an esteemed group of peers. It's also a real pleasure to be in South Korea to be talking about the future in the next 20 years. I think it's a very fitting place. This country is synonymous with innovation and has really given the world so much and pioneered so much. LEDs, 5G, curved smartphone screens, robotics. My nieces would be very upset if I didn't also mention K-pop demon hunters. They're only little, so they haven't discovered BTS yet. It's only a matter of time. To introduce myself, thank you. To introduce myself, I head up distribution for EDGE. By way of background, I studied international relations and modern history at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. Started my career in fixed income in mortgage-backed securities. Studied for my MBA at the University of Cambridge with a focus on cross-border business, and then moved into the real estate investment world. As head of distribution, I sit at the intersection of the investment and development sides of the business. I work with investors to raise capital to deploy into development-focused strategies across the UK, Netherlands, Germany, and most recently France. So I work quite closely with our transaction, asset management, and development teams internally. To introduce EDGE, this is EDGE by the numbers. If someone is not so familiar with this, I usually start by asking if they've been to Amsterdam. If they say yes, if they've seen the Amsterdam skyline, they have seen an EDGE building. We have since expanded into more geographies across Europe. We are most known for our developments in the office space. And the name EDGE comes from the EDGE in Amsterdam, which we delivered in 2014 when it was hailed as the world's smartest and most efficient building. How did we do this? How did we deliver the world's smartest and most efficient building? The EDGE has 26,000 embodied data sensors, and these monitor water consumption, electricity usage, but they also monitor light, heat, and motion, so we can see how the office is actually being used by its occupants, and we can respond better to occupier needs. And that data has also been extremely valuable to us in looking at future projects. So, as we look to the next 20 years and why we're all here, I think that we have some new challenges that have arisen since CODA was founded 20 years ago, and one of those is, of course, climate change. Luckily, we also have new tools to tackle these challenges, and I think one of the most useful tools is the increased ease with which we can share knowledge. We have
모멘터스.
easier ways to share knowledge than ever before, and we also have more access to data in the built environment than we ever have before. Real estate is an inherently heterogeneous asset class in classical economic terms. Every building is different, but every place in which those buildings exist is also different. Different climate, geography, regulatory climates, consumer behavior, demographic trends. So data really is the closest thing we have to a common language, and that allows us to communicate across the industry and share best practices and insight with each other. So that brings me to sharing a bit of insight as to how we at Edge look at the world going forward for the next 20 years. I call this the dynamic stakeholder model, which I realize sounds a bit dull and corporate. If anyone has any ideas for a catchier name, please let me know. We'll rebrand. But fundamentally, this is how we look at the world. And our company slogan is "The world needs better buildings." What exactly does that mean? Better for whom? So it means better for occupiers. This one is fairly straightforward. And I'll be speaking about this from mostly an office context because that's where most of our track record is. However, I do think this model and the underlying philosophy can and should be applied across multiple sectors. I'm also speaking from European context, but again, I think there are lessons to be taken from this. In Europe, a grade A office has a few critical criteria. Well-being for the occupants, access to daylight, green spaces, amenities, of course, your usual
웰빙, 자연경관, 야외 정관,
retail, parking spaces. Also, very
백서장,
good
주차장,
micro-location, that's a key part of the grade A designation, and sustainability.
마이크로 로테이션,
The amenities as part of this
database,
designation, I think that's quite straightforward. Worth noting that the European office markets are quite different to markets like Seoul and Tokyo, where I know a lot of people came back to work very quickly after the outbreak of COVID, whereas in Europe and North America, there's still pushback to these return to office mandates. So for an employer, you really want there to be a pull factor where your people come into the office, and the well-being also acts as a pull factor in addition to creating a space where your employees really do their best work and thrive. The data-driven essence of the buildings is also quite important. As I mentioned, with the Edge, it's allowed us to better serve our tenants and create spaces that fundamentally make more sense. The sustainability aspects of the better building for investors and of this grade A designation is really quite critical at this point in the European markets. And that's largely due to the fact that the vast majority of multinational corporations have their own internal net zero targets. So the real estate they occupy is a vital part of this. Real estate falls under scope 1 and 2 of carbon emissions. So the McKinseys, Goldmans, Amazons of the world, they're not going to sign a lease for an unsustainable building space. So what makes a building better for investors? And I think the logical question that followed that last slide is, doesn't it cost more money to create a green building? Doesn't it cost more money to create spaces that promote well-being and use biophilic materials? The answer is
그린 빌딩, 웰빙에 대한 개념을 설명하고 있습니다.
Investment management has two goals: ensuring return and minimizing risk. Easier said than done, but that's really what it boils down to. So when we look at a sustainable real estate development strategy as an investment, it really does actually address those two goals quite effectively. For a bit of context and a bit of background, in the way of capital flows into the European market and the office sector, in particular, office has not been a popular asset class since COVID for fairly obvious reasons. But there's also worth noting, there's also been a move away from ground-up development focus from investors to refurbishment and retrofitting of standing assets. Why is this? One is the fundamental lack of buildable space in cities like London, Paris, Amsterdam, and Berlin. If you want to develop a building in a truly top-tier micro-location, chances are there's already a building there. It's also a fundamentally de-risked business plan in the sense that you don't have to contend with planning and zoning, which in certain markets can prolong the development phase by several years. The embodied carbon of a retrofitted or refurbished project is typically much lower than a ground-up development and almost definitely lower than the embodied carbon in a project where you are demolishing the building and then building something new. And then in the office sector specifically, it's been quite a good time in the market if you have the equity to deploy and the willingness to be a bit counter-cyclical. There's not as much capital chasing these assets in good locations, so you can acquire them at quite advantageous pricing. In terms of creating a sustainable office, there is a very clear commercial value. Because those tenants I just mentioned, those multinational corporations, they have their own standards that they're looking for when they're looking for office space. These are also the tenants who can want to and need to pay these top-tier market rates. So for your investors, you are securing the highest possible cash flows, and you're also inherently reducing your leasing risk by creating something that targets these tenants. In the way of financing, sustainability is also increasingly important in the European space. The cost of your debt for an acquisition and business plan is going to be considerably higher if you do not have a clear business plan to turn a brown building into a green building. The institutional lenders simply will not lend on those anymore, and you'll probably be looking at using private credit, something out of a private debt fund, which will be significantly more expensive. So that's what makes a better building for investors in the acquisition and development phase. When we look at leasing, again, we are targeting a really excellent tenant pool. And then when we look at the exit for these buildings, most investors, some will buy, develop, and hold a perpetuity for those long-term inflation hedging cash flows, but most investors do eventually exit the project. So on the exit, you create a truly core common assets. These are 10-year vaults, excellent tenants, great cash flows, great sustainability credentials, great location. There's lots of core capital appetite for this. So you have the largest bidding pool possible, you are going to achieve the best sale price possible. And also noting a lot of these institutional investors have their own internal investment criteria around sustainability. So the takeaway here really is that sustainability and ESG, this is not a marketing exercise, it's not a nice to have, it really is inherent to the financial and commercial success of real estate as an investment. You can't decouple it, it needs to be part of the business plan. So moving on toward what makes the building better for the community, for the global community, we think this one's fairly straightforward. To create a low-carbon building responds to the push to decarbonize and face the climate change. What creates a building that's better for the local community? We seek to make the space better than it was before. That's it. Very simple. Also easier said than done. We really look to create buildings that are integrated and then give back and add vibrancy. In the construction phase, we employ considerate construction practices, minimizing noise, disruption, and maintaining open and constant communication with local stakeholders. When we work with the local communities, we really seek to give back and engage. Sometimes that includes elements of design, so having a creating public space or having a retail or food and beverage outlet on the ground floor that's accessible not just to the tenants, but to the public. Some examples of how we at Edge do engage with the local communities. This is one of my absolute favorite collaborations we do. We work with an organization called U-Space, which links nonprofits and arts organizations with office owners and occupiers to provide them space. So at Edge Stadium, we have had a couple of orchestras who rehearse in the atrium and lobby because there is quite a lot of space and the acoustics are great and nobody's using the building after 7 o'clock. So when I first started this, I thought, that's so logical. That makes so much sense. It's such a good use of the building. We also work with U-Space in the design phases of our buildings as well to ensure that we have public areas that are versatile. So we engage with floor plates of size and shape, avoid needing furniture that's easily movable. Another example, At our London Bridge project, we work with the local schools alongside our main contractor, Mace, to basically provide access to the construction and development industry to kids who might not otherwise be informed about it, who are interested in a career. It can be an industry that's difficult to break into. And if you're a kid and your parents, your family friends don't work in this industry, where do you start? So that's one way we try and give back to the local community and increase representation in terms of gender, racial background in this industry. This is not an edge example, but it's a great story, and don't be quick coming over, but I'm sure on time. This is a project in East London called Bishop Square. It's a Norman Foster project. Part of this involved developing an office space for a financial institution which needed quite a large trading floor. During the construction phase, they unearthed a medieval charnel house. This is where bones were stored in the Middle Ages. A little bit morbid, but it is part of London's history. So instead of being an obstacle, this has now been incorporated into the design of the public space of Bishop Square. And this was due in part to some collaboration from the financial institution who realized they didn't actually need all the space on the trading floor because of this new thing called the internet. So I think the main message here is that this is not a zero-sum game. The interests of all these stakeholders actually overlap considerably. In some ways, they are all one and the same. This is not a bad graphic design choice. It's actually meant to look like this. When you look at the investment aspect, there's also a community element because so many of these institutional investors, they represent money with a very personal connection to individual consumers. So the consumers want their money, with their connection, to be invested into something that makes their community better, that ideally aligns with their values. And consumer demand is incredibly important to these institutions when we look at where and how they invest. So this is not an easy mission necessarily to create better buildings as we look to the next 20 years. But this industry is fundamentally and inherently innovative, and I personally can't wait to see how we all figure out ways to do it better. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Clear philosophy and engaging community examples and how operational measurements such as certifications and green finance can link design intent to in-use performance with an evidence-based approach. Now I'm going to invite Chairman Ju Young-moon from the MD Group South Korea. He also served as chairman of Korean Asset Trust and contributes to the education sector with a great deal of support. So today, Chairman Moon will give a presentation on the next chapter of cities in South Korea, the age of urban transformation with South Korean cases. Please welcome Chairman Moon in the stage.
윤지영 회장입니다.
반갑습니다. LGM그룹 문재입니다. 먼저 부동산 개발협회 창립 20주년을 진심으로 축하드립니다. 저는 부동산 개발협회 3대 4세 회장을 6년간 역임하고 지금은 명예회장입니다. 그래서 개발협회 20주년은 감회가 더욱 남다릅니다. 그리고 오늘 해외 각국에서 귀하신 분들이 개발협회 20주년을 축하해 주시고 감연해 주시기 위하여 오셨습니다. 일본 모리사의 모리히루 부사장님, 미국 쿠시노 캠퍼니의 니콜 쿠시노 회장님, 네덜란드 지사의 수실 박복 대표님, 그리고 그 캐피탈사의 크리스타나 그 대표님 진심으로 감사합니다. 특히 어제 만찬 시간에 니콜 쿠시노 회장님과 추억에 남을 좋은 시간이었습니다. 감사합니다. 저는 MBM을 설립해 개발 사업에 뛰어든 지 27년이 되었습니다. 4억 5천만 원으로 시작해서 현재는 자산규모 8조, 재계 63위의 국내 최대 종합부동산 그룹으로 성장했습니다. 지금은 국내를 넘어 미국, 일본, 베트남 등 해외 시장에 진출하여 글로벌 디벨로퍼에 도약을 하고 있습니다. 그동안 우리 디벨로퍼들은 대한민국 도시 발전과 경제 성장을 위해 많은 기여를 해왔습니다. 지난 10년간 민간은 우리나라 주택 공급의 약 80%를 책임졌고 부동산 산업과 건설업은 GDP의 14%를 담당하여 막대한 경제적 파급 효과를 만들어냈습니다. 오늘 이 자리를 빌어 다시 한번 디벨로퍼 여러분의 노고에 기쁨, 감사와 경의를 표합니다. 박수 한번 치시죠. 지금 우리 업계는 고금리와 치솟는 공사비, PF 시장 경색 등 저성장 고물가 시대를 맞아 여러 가지로 어려움에 직면해 있습니다. 오늘 저는 이를 극복하기 위한 방법으로 대한민국의 도시가 직면한 근본적인 문제를 살펴보고 디벨로퍼 입장에서 몇 가지 해결책을 제시해 보고자 합니다. 현재 우리나라의 가장 큰 도시 문제는 서울을 중심으로 한 수도권의 도시 과밀화입니다. 서울은 우리나라 인구의 약 20%가 모여 살고 있으며 GDP의 50%가 수도권에 집중되어 있습니다. 이로 인해 도시는 점점 복잡하고 비대해지면서 각종 도시 문제를 양산하고 있으며 도시 내 도시 간 양극화로 지역 간 계층 간 갈등은 더욱 커져만 가고 있습니다. 물론 70년대 이후 고도 성장기에는 신도시 건설 등으로 도시를 확장하면서 심각한 주택 부족 문제를 해결하였습니다. 하지만 지금은 확장 개발의 한계가 왔으며 교통 문제, 환경 문제, 주택 문제 등 도시 문제는 여전히 해결되지 않는 채 점점 심각해지고 있습니다. 이제 도시 개발의 방향을 바꿔야 합니다. 확장 개발보다는 압축 개발을 해야 합니다. 더 이상의 수평적 도시 확장은 멈추고 수직적 개발을 통한 복합도시, 컴팩트 시티로 전환해야 합니다. 컴팩트 시티는 사회적 인프라가 이미 잘 갖춰진 도심 지역에 주거, 업무, 문화, 공공 서비스 등 모든 시설을 한 곳에 고밀도로 집합시키는 개발 방식입니다. 이럴 경우 불필요한 교통 유발과 인프라 건설 등 자원 낭비를 줄이고 도시 기능 간의 효율을 극대화할 수 있습니다. 다시 말해 수요가 있는 곳에 공급을 집중한다는 겁니다. 도시의 수요를 억지로 일각에 분산 유도하기보다는 기존의 인프라가 잘 갖춰져 있어 수요가 높은 지역에 필요한 기능을 더욱 집중해 주는 것입니다. 제가 개발하는 복합단지 사례를 한 가지 소개해 드리겠습니다. 이 프로젝트는 서초구 법원검찰청 맞은편에 위치한 서리풀 복합단지 개발 사업입니다. 이 부지는 8년 동안 사업자가 없어 8번의 입찰 끝에 계속 방치되었던 땅입니다. 도시지역에 3만 평이라는 매력적인 땅이었음에도 불구하고 사업적 관점에서 볼 때 수익성 높은 아파트를 한 채도 짓지 못한다는 치명적인 약점이 있기 때문이었습니다. 저는 이 땅의 잠재적 가치를 보고 친환경 비즈니스 복합단지 개발로 최적의 입지라고 확신했습니다. 서리풀 복합단지는 서리풀 공원을 감싸는 3만 평 대지 위에 연면적 약 18만 평 규모의 첨단 오피스 5개 동과 문화시설, 상업시설을 계획하였고 지난 7월 착공하여 공사 중에 있습니다. 오피스는 소통과 교류를 극대화하기 위해 일반 오피스의 2배에 달하는 바닥 면적 1,800평의 대형 오피스로 계획했습니다. 그리고 입주 기업을 위한 스포츠센터, 공연장, 카페테리아, 전망대, 대규모 옥상 정원 등 원스톱 서비스형 부대 시설을 갖추었습니다. 문화시설 또한 이곳을 서울의 명소로 만들겠다는 목표로 세계 수준의 보이는 수장고와 K컬처 공연장을 계획하였습니다. 보이는 수장고는 서울시와 함께 국제연상 공모를 통해 세계적인 건축가 헤르조그 앤 드메룡의 작품이 선정되어 지금부터 화제가 되고 있습니다. 트리플 사운드라는 공연장은 K문화를 국내에 알리는 다양한 공연과 이벤트를 365일 개최할 예정입니다. 트리플 복합단지는 전 세계적으로 사랑받는 문화 아이콘이 될 것으로 확신합니다. 다음으로 얘기할 도시 문제는 인구 고령화와 인구 구조의 변화입니다. 우리나라는 이제 65세 이상 인구가 전체 인구의 20%를 넘어서는 초고령 사회로 진입했습니다. 그리고 세대당 인구수도 1인 가구수가 전체 가구수의 60%를 차지하게 되었습니다. 우리는 이제 늙어가는 도시, 개인 중심의 사회에 대비해야 합니다. 특히 디벨로퍼는 누구보다 먼저 시대 변화를 꿰뚫어보고 그에 맞추는 주거 문화를 선도해야 합니다. 은퇴 세대가 앞으로 우리 사회의 주류가 되는 만큼 우리는 그 수요에 맞는 주거 공간을 개발해서 국민들에게 공부해야 할 책임도 또한 있습니다. 물론 주거 문화의 가장 근본 가치인 인간 존중과 행복 추구라는 권리는 지켜야 합니다. 저는 이에 대한 해결책으로 커뮤니티 중심의 도시개발과 은퇴 세대를 위한 주거 공간에 대해 말씀드리고자 합니다. 커뮤니티는 현대적 의미의 마을 공동체 구심점입니다. 세계은행찰에 의하면 커뮤니티가 잘 구축된 도시는 경제 위기에서 회복되는 시간이 다른 도시에 비해 25% 빠르다고 합니다. 디벨로퍼는 단순히 건물을 짓는 것에 그치지 않고 그 안에 살아가는 사람들이 함께 어울리며 살아가는 공동체 문화를 조성하는 역할, 즉 커뮤니티 빌더로서의 역할이 매우 중요하다고 생각합니다. 제가 개발한 커뮤니티 개발 사례에 대해 말씀드리겠습니다. 이 사업은 광교 신도시에 있는 광교 레이크시티 주상복합입니다. 이 땅도 과거 10년 동안 수풀이 무성한 상태로 버려져 있었습니다. 저는 이곳에 대지 면적 13,000평, 연면적 7만 평, 주거용 오피스텔 1,800세대의 주거 복합단지를 안공하여 입주했습니다. 단지 중심의 중앙광장을 조성하고 입주민들이 부담없이 365일 삼시세끼 식사를 할 수 있도록 식당을 만들었습니다. 여기에 초대형 수영장, 사우나는 물론 실내 체육관 등 약 5,000평 규모의 초대형 커뮤니티 시설을 조성하였습니다. 단지 안에서는 모든 것을 해결할 수 있는 원스톱 서비스 커뮤니티를 만든 것입니다. 지금 여기에 거주하는 입주민들은 다양한 커뮤니티 활동을 통해 이웃과 함께 하며 단지에 대한 프라이드도 대단합니다. 마지막으로 소개할 프로젝트는 백운호수 숲속의 아침입니다. 이 사업은 고령화를 맞아 앞으로 수요가 크게 늘어날 것으로 예상되는 은퇴 세대를 위한 3세대 공동형 시니어 복합단지 개발 사업입니다. 사업지는 경기도 의왕시 백운호수 옆에 위치해 있습니다. 대지 면적 12,000평, 연면적 92,000평에 1,358세대의 복합단지를 안공하여 곧 입주가 시작될 예정입니다. 이 단지는 은퇴 세대를 대상으로 한 노인 오피스텔 536세대와 일반인 은퇴 세대들의 자식들이 같이 살 수 있는 주거용 오피스텔 842세대를 한 단지로 조성했습니다. 연령층의 제약 없이 3세대가 단지 안에서 함께 살 수 있도록 한 것입니다. 단지 중앙에는 광장과 식당, 스포츠센터, 수영장, 사우나 등 약 3,300평의 대형 커뮤니티를 조성했습니다. 입주민들은 이곳에서 설거지나 청소 등 집안일로부터 해방되어 매일 삼시세끼 식사 서비스를 제공받습니다. 그리고 다양한 이벤트를 통해 자연스럽게 소통과 교류가 이어갑니다. 무엇보다도 운동, 여가, 교육, 취미활동 등 다양한 콘텐츠를 통해 매일매일이 즐거운 일상이 되도록 계획하였습니다. 물론 모든 시설은 부모, 자식, 손자 3대가 함께 어울려 즐길 수 있도록 배려하였습니다. 저는 이러한 3세대 공존형 복합단지가 고령화 시대에 아주 적합한 주거문화라는 확신을 가지고 지속적으로 사업을 추진하고 있습니다. 그래서 최근에 LH가 선정한 국내 최초의 헬스케어 공모형 리츠 사업인 동탄 복합단지 조성 사업을 추진 중에 있습니다. 동탄 이 신도시 중심에 골프장을 내려다보는 5만 6천 평 대지에 약 4천 세대 규모의 대규모 신묘 단지를 조성하는 사업입니다. 이 단지는 상상하는 모든 것이 갖춰진 곳, 그야말로 은퇴 세대들의 천국을 만들겠다는 목표로 추진 중에 있습니다. 현재 부지 매입을 완료하여 계획 중에 있습니다. 저는 늘 디벨로퍼는 오케스트라의 지휘자라고 말합니다. 사업의 처음부터 끝까지 책임지고 모든 악기를 조율하듯 각각의 장점을 살려 최고의 작품을 만들어내는 것이죠. 그래서 우리들에게는 남들을 뛰어넘는 창의력과 두려움없는 혁신 그리고 강한 실행력이 무엇보다 필요합니다. 존경하는 디벨로퍼 여러분, 우리는 꿈을 현실로 만들어왔습니다. 앞으로도 우리 디벨로퍼는 대한민국을 글로벌 도시 경쟁력 1등 국가로 만드는데 크게 기여할 것을 확신합니다. 마지막으로 부동산 개발협회 20주년을 멋지게 준비해 주신 20주년 기념사업단 김한모 단장과 사업단 임직원 여러분께 심심한 감사를 드립니다. 여러분의 건승을 응원합니다. 경청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 고맙습니다.
Inspiring development projects such as mega project for the new age of urban transformation in South Korea and how to respond to the change of the demographic structure in South Korea from the developer's perspective. Apparently, developers take a different spin on what the generic media do. The generic media they're just looking for a gotcha moment, right? But what the developers are looking for is how we can do it moment. So I would like to wrap up this session with an idea that developers are people who are repairing the world. This concept refers to the responsibility to the world, a better world, and the idea that the human action on earth serve to restore harmony and balance, making the world a dwelling place. Thank you so much for all your contributions.
원기선 교수님 수고하셨습니다. 여러분 지금까지 한국부동산개발협회 20주년 기념행사 프리-이벤트죠. 글로벌 디벨로퍼 컨퍼런스 1부 해외 열사들의 주제 발표를 들어봤습니다. 전 세계적으로 정말 많은 디벨로퍼들이 여러 가지 문제를 직면하고 있습니다. 어떤 문제들이 있는지를 서로 공유를 했고요. 이에 대한 해결과 또 미래 비전을 도출을 해야 하는데 우리 대한민국 디벨로퍼들은 어떤 방향으로 나아가야 될지 생각해 볼 수 있었던 아주 귀중한 시간이었습니다. 이제 글로벌 디벨로퍼 컨퍼런스 2부로 이어갈 텐데요. 2부에서는 국내외 주요 디벨로퍼들과 함께하는 좌담회가 준비되어 있습니다. 잠시 저희가 무대 세팅이 필요하고요. 세팅이 완료되는 대로 또 좌담회를 이어가도록 하겠습니다. 저희가 잠시 휴식 시간을 10분 정도 가질 예정입니다. 휴식 시간 동안에는 협회 소개 영상이 송출됩니다. 잠시 영상을 보시면서 약 10분간 휴식을 한 다음에 2부 행사를 위해서 장내로 다시 돌아와 주시기 바랍니다. 잠시 후에 또 뵙겠습니다.
상 일부 행사